50 years of anguish and cruelty. Such was the life of Ye Bei, who suffered against the wrath of mankind's most brutal enemy. The wake of the zombie apocalypse with unknown causes sent their world to hell. Ye Bei became a product of the dark era and spent his life regretting the mistakes of his past. Using his special powers, he travels back in time to the day everything changed. Come as we explore the dark tale of a man who has decided to trust no one but himself. The rage of the heavy storm pats the blood spilled on Earth. Deadly zombies capable of devouring one whole person bangs on the only shelter Ye Bei finds security behind. With his wrench, he swings a heavy blow, bashing the skull of the monster that was about to take his life, leaving the girl before him, horrified and confused. His face sparks that joy, as if he has accomplished a feat unlike any other. Having taken care of the zombie, Ye Bei decides to head out of the shelter, surprising his classmates with his actions. Arriving before the deceased zombie, Ye Bei reaches for its carcass and collects an emerald stone. Before setting his eyes on the nearest target, he rushes forth and immediately bashes the zombie's skull with his weapon. However, another zombie tries to attack him from his blind spot. Reacting at once, he thrusts his leg and kicks the zombie, before swinging his trusty wrench, demolishing the zombie in gruesome blood. With the splattered remains of the zombie falling to the ground, Ye Bei looks toward his perplexed, yet frightened classmates. He doesn't look to explain the situation by any means and walks away. Ye Bei travels away from the school and finds himself in the children's playground, where 3 zombies reach to devour their newest human meal. However, this human meal doesn't like them so much and feeds them his metal wrench one after the other. With his final blow destroying the group of zombies, a person stares at the spectacle unfolding before their eyes. Panting because of the aftermath of his battle, Ye Bei hears the approaching footsteps of 3 more zombies. Their faces were as ugly as ever, with their mouths gaping open to approach their next victim. The horror begins to chase after Ye Bei, who thinks of an idea and stops before the shade, before turning to fight his nemesis. With one of the zombies lunging forth, Ye Bei swings his weapon, taking 2 more zombies down. Using his only chance to escape, Ye Bei slides underneath the shutter, trapping the zombies outside as they continue to bang on the structure. Ye Bei is convinced that the shutter will form a good defense in the meantime. He has found himself inside a convenience store and turns to look at a girl to his left. Carving a smile on his face, Ye Bei approaches the cashier's front and takes a breath. The girl charges ahead while he's inspecting some medicine. When he grabs her hand at once, the girl is alarmed and tries running away from him. Afraid of Ye Bei, she hides behind a corner, trembling at what he is about to do. We now bear witness to what occurred moments before the beginning of the story. When the group of zombies approached the shelter, begging for their classmates to open the door, the students inside were left terrified, knowing that their classmate Zhang Heng was right outside. Zhang Heng wanted to be let in, but his classmates had no choice but to block the zombies from slamming their way in. One of these students was Ye Bei himself, who was strikingly terrified compared to his previous confident assault against the zombies. Their class representative pleads for the students to open the door to allow Zhang Heng to enter because she doesn't want to abandon their classmate. However, their only line of defense argues that the risk is too severe for them to allow Zhang Heng to enter, especially when he has probably already been devoured by the terrifying zombies. The girl counters that she is the class representative and doesn't want to leave anyone behind. Wanting to take full responsibility for the actions to follow, she points to the fact that Zhang Heng is capable of speaking, meaning he has yet to be infected by the zombies. She thinks that if they allow him to be led inside, they won't be feeling any guilt for his demise. Struggling against her words, one of the boys instructs Ye Bei to close the door the moment Zhang Heng enters. With their countdown of 3, the boys eventually open the door, only for an infected monster to lunge through, leaving them terrified, right in their places. What did they even expect? Rainbows and sunshine. Ye Bei is horrified to look at the infected Zhang Heng, who is no longer a human, but a flesh-eating monster. The infected Zhang Heng jumps on top of Ye Bei as he begs for help. The class representative no longer boasts a protective attitude and simply prioritizes her own safety. Ye Bei uses his arm to fend off the beast. However, the monstrosity before him bites down on his arm, rendering cruel pain to Ye Bei, who thinks that he's about to be killed. Suddenly, unknown memories of the future begin to flash through his mind. It is revealed that after the encounter, Ye Bei cut his arm off to stop the infection and ran away from the site. The city fell to doom and destruction, and 50 years after his escape, Ye Bei proceeded to become a mechanic who spent his life building a time machine. Ye Bei then used this time machine and traveled back into the past in order to alter the course of the future. and get his vengeance against the zombies. Bro is literally too angry to die. With the consciousness of his future self transferring to his youthful body, Ye Bei returns to the exact moment when they are holding the zombies from entering inside. He hears his class representative once again repeating the same actions, requiring Zhang Heng to enter inside. Ye Bei recalls that Li Ruoxi is quite young here, because of his memories of the future. The day is fresh in his memories as he realizes that his time machine succeeded, allowing him the capability to change everything. Shooting her a glare, Ye Bei talks down to Li Ruoxi, reminding her that she wouldn't be able to handle the consequences if they did allow Zhang Heng to enter inside. The class representative counters that they have no evidence of Zhang Heng's infected state, and that she is willing to take all responsibility for the case. Ye Bei happily accepts her proposal and extends his hand, inviting her to personally open the door to take the risk herself. Li Ruoxi is shocked by his actions and hounds at him for not being man enough to open the door. Hearing her laughable words, Ye Bei asserts that she's only good at talking and making others do her dirty work, only to take credit in the end. He names her a hypocritical person, a remark that pushes her buttons as she finally steps up to the task. Damn, she got roasted. Li Ruoxi curses at the boys, telling them to get lost before she clutches the door handle. However, the second she tries to pull in when Zhang Heng slams through the door, pushing the three classmates behind. Li Ruoxi glances at Zhang Heng, horrified to see him standing as an infected zombie. The monster lashes at them with its disgusting face as the students fret for their lives. Li Ruoxi reveals her true personality by shoving one of her classmates in front of Zhang Heng, using him as a body shield. I knew it. She's fake as hell. Ye Bei decides to kick Li Ruoxi from behind, giving her a taste of her own medicine. With Li Ruoxi headed right towards the infected Zhang Heng, Ye Bei smiles. The zombified Zhang Heng grasps her and puts her in place before opening its mouth to devour Li Ruoxi. Even though she tried to betray them, Ye Bei swings his wrench and mauls the head of the monster, saving his selfish class leader while boasting a smile. The two of them flop to the ground, with Li Ruoxi begging for Ye Bei's help. However, Ye Bei only recalls that she's someone who persecuted him his entire life, so he's only dealing with absolute punishment by returning her the favor. Shutting the door back in place, Li Ruoxi begs for Ye Bei's help, who doesn't follow her words and slams the door back in place. Ye Bei's classmates are at odds with his actions, but he only forces them to hold off the door with him. The students quickly step in front, blocking the door with as many objects as they can get their hands off. On the other side of the door is screaming, begging Li Ruoxi is asking for help. The students are aware of what she has done and choose to keep their selfish class representative trapped outside. Eventually, Li Ruoxi meets her demise as she wails in agony. I mean, you fudge around, you find out. The students soon realize that Li Ruoxi's voice is no longer to be heard. They're even more surprised by Ye Bei's actions, who not only kicked Li Ruoxi out, but also killed a zombie all by himself. They're shocked because the Ye Bei they have known all their lives is a kind person who has now become unrecognizable. Glancing at his classmates, Ye Bei realizes that the students are actually afraid of him, even though they try to deny it. His friend is grateful that Ye Bei saved him because he would have died otherwise. The rest of the students shared a consensus that their class representative only deserved to die for her actions. They're thankful for Ye Bei's swift actions for helping them out. Because of their opinions, Ye Bei shares a smile, claiming that it's a good thing for them not to fear him. He casually tells them to open the door, a request that is considered insane by his classmates. Ye Bei reasons that he kicked the class representative out, which wasn't the sanest thing to do, and he wants to check up on her by going outside. His friends try to stop him, reminding him that literal zombies are standing outside. Ye Bei yells at them to clear his path before stepping outside himself. Ye Bei shows no fear or fidgeting in his steps, knowing that he's gotten rid of both the class representative and Zhang Heng. Ye Bei also reports that the zombies have left because of the sun. What he didn't expect was for his classmates to betray him, shutting him outside. He hears their voices. The students think that he is too dangerous to be kept around, and is probably some kind of murderer. They're like, bro's gonna kill us all before the zombies do. Ye Bei doesn't care and proceeds to walk away unfazed. His classmates are shocked because they didn't anticipate his reaction. Their eyes widened when they saw Ye Bei walking straight towards a female zombie. Ye Bei displays confidence unlike any other and rushes with his wrench before bashing the thick skull of the zombie in cold blood. Ye Bei's frustration doesn't end as he only continues to maul the zombie, splattering their remains on the floor without end and leaving his classmates in horror. #traumatized for life. Setting his wrench aside, Ye Bei reaches out for the energy stone, being happy that he has reclaimed it. Ye Bei reflects that the item in his grasp is the origin of the apocalypse and is especially important for him to use in the art of apocalypse mechanics. With another zombie stepping forth, Ye Bei turns his attention to the lingering monster and prepares his weapon before rushing to attack. Ye Bei's assault ends with a brutal takedown of another zombie, as his classmates wonder if Ye Bei intends to destroy the zombies. Ye Bei's friends can't fathom how their coward of a classmate is now a killing machine. They think that Ye Bei has been acting all along. One of the classmates thinks that they can use him to their advantage by using him as their defense. However, another classmate counters, thinking that Ye Bei is a psychopath and should not be allowed to come back. Suddenly, Ye Bei's wrench shatters the glass window as he calls for his classmates to kill more zombies. In response, his classmates are rendered frozen in place because of the fear. They point to a zombie creeping up on Ye Bei from behind. Ye Bei turns to confront the zombie and uses his kick to drive him away, before following his attack with a deadly swing. The attack bashes the zombie's skull clean, defeating it once and for all. Ye Bei turns to look at his classmates and tells them that he is unsure if he will get infected because of the fluids. He wanted to travel together with the rest of the students, but didn't want to risk his infection jeopardizing the others. Stating that he won't harm his former friends, Ye Bei goes on his own, wishing them the best of luck in their survival. Ye Bei's classmates are astonished that he chose to leave without harming them. Ye Bei walks across the track and then paces up a flight of stairs. He muses on the thought of the apocalypse, reflecting how this is the very beginning of humanity's nightmare. Ye Bei reflects that a deadly zombie virus became responsible for infecting 50% of the world's population, affecting the economy and politics, and collapsing world order. With the increase of their numbers at rapid speed, the surviving humans only cower in fear and collect resources for their survival, which only spirals the world into even more chaos. He terms this disastrous period the Dark Era, a name that Professor Zhang Hun used to describe the collapse of the world. Ye Bei remembers that Li Ruoshi became responsible for his being infected by the zombie, and he was forced to sever his arm to prevent the flow of the infection. He recalls his anguish of 50 years, suffering every kind of brutality in the hellish world he knew. That is when he met the mechanic, who used the last of his powers to send him back to the past before the outbreak of the apocalypse, that is, the present. Ye Bei navigates through the silent city, leaving the rest of the hiding survivors afraid of his actions, as he displays no fear in his stroll. They think that he's gone psychopathic because of his hunger. One of them wants to call them inside, knowing that the stranger in front of them is headed for his demise. But his friend reminds him that they're dealing with deadly zombies and that Ye Bei might have been infected. Ye Bei reaches a playground, where he ignores the 3 zombies right next to him, walking without any semblance of fear. However, the zombies aren't so kind as to return their ignorance and proceed to attack the human with their wrath. This happens right in front of the 2 survivors, who think that he may have been an idiot for walking around like that. However, Ye Bei welcomes this situation, preparing his pipe wrench and demolishing the 3 zombies, one after the other. His wrath is a sheer display of his might, surprising the human survivors with his powers. One survivor, that being a familiar face that we all know of, is actually furious with Ye Bei's actions, hoping to kill him. Once she finds the opportunity to do so, this is revealed to be the class representative herself. After defeating the 3 zombies, Ye Bei finds himself out of breath. He hears the approaching footsteps of even more zombies, finding it an annoyance. Ye Bei decides to avoid the confrontation, realizing that the sounds attract the zombie horde. The zombies continue to chase after him, and his escape shocks a bunch of unknown survivors, who are afraid of him, luring the zombies to their location. Ye Bei is actually unaware of this and finds a convenience store. He slams on the shutter, hoping for someone to allow him to come inside. Knowing that the person is watching him using the CCTV camera, Ye Bei tells them that he's injured and is currently being attacked by a horde of zombies. The survivors from before think that it's only his own fault for doing this, and have reason to believe that no sane human would allow him to enter inside. However, the shutter begins to open as Ye Bei finds his escape spot. He glances back at the attacking zombies lunging towards him. Ye Bei does his best to take down the zombies as best he can, and slides underneath the shutter to make his escape. With his entrance inside, the zombies are shut outside, banging on the obstacle for them. Ye Bei stands to observe what's in front of him. He finds a girl hiding behind the cashier's front, carefully watching him. The remaining survivors from outside are shocked that he's capable of killing the zombies. The punk informs Brother Centipede that Ye Bei easily defeats 6 zombies all by himself. Centipede, who is their leader, thinks that the zombies may not have been so strong to begin with. He thinks that if a mere boy is capable of defeating them, then they're definitely capable as well. Oh, they're about to get wrecked. Meanwhile, Ye Bei sparks a smile when he meets his new friend, calling her out. He demands her to hand over the keys to the shuttle door, but receives no response. Letting out a gasp, Ye Bei uses a different approach and acts like he's an injured person, with his wounds rendering him in great pain. His misery attracts the girl, who comes out of hiding with medicine. However, Ye Bei grabs onto the girl's hand while she demands to be freed. Ye Bei doesn't hold himself back and tells her that he needs the door's controller at once. The girl is wailing in pain and clutches onto the controller as best she can. Ye Bei proceeds to snatch the controller by force and frees her. The girl tries to escape as best she can and hides behind an aisle, trembling for her life. Slamming down a pile of items, Ye Bei outrageously lashes out at the girl for stupidly believing the misery of a stranger. He calls her a fool for being so easy to trick in such a way. The scene switches to the original timeline. This is when it is revealed that the same girl tried her best to help Ye Bei recover from his severed arm. The girl was the only person who managed to save him at the time, and her father told her to stay inside the door. She told him to rest while she brought him some food. At the time, Ye Bei thought of her as a gentle person who opened the door and allowed him to be let inside. Otherwise, he would have been devoured by the raging zombies. However, that's when things took a dark turn. Ye Bei heard her voice from the other room. A bunch of thugs controlled by their leader also managed to enter inside. Thanks to her display of kindness, they were grateful to her and seized control of the entire store. Centipede, their leader, also revealed that they used the girl's father as bait and lured the zombies away, meaning that he's already met his doom. With the girl completely under their control, the thugs brutally tortured her to death. Ye Bei knew that her kindness became the reason for her demise, while he couldn't do anything but hide to preserve his own life. In the present, Ye Bei intends to do his best to save her life. He takes a shower and knows that he should nurture her into adapting to the harshness of the world, even if she only gets to see him as a brooding and evil person. When the girl knocks on the door, Ye Bei shouts at her for disturbing him during his bath. Bro got his priorities straight. Haha. She's thrown off guard and apologizes, stating that she brought him a new pair of clothes to wear. Ye Bei's annoyance grows as he angrily tells her to leave the clothes outside and get lost. The poor girl, facing his harsh words, does exactly as she is told. Ye Bei, on the other hand, thinks that a weak girl like her could never make it out of an apocalypse. Funnily enough, he likes having to shower after a long time because the resources in the future only become impossible to obtain. In fact, Ye Bei knows that the water supply is going to be cut off in a few days. He gets out of the shower and thinks that it's a good thing for the convenience store to have a bundle of water and food for them to use. Ye Bei's next target is to acquire potent equipment and lethal weapons. He admires the looks of his youthful self and finds his current body much more usable. However, he thinks that he should train more to put on some muscle as well. Ye Bei comes to obtain his clothes before shouting at her from the other room for bringing him a suit. He thinks it would be impossible for him to fight zombies while wearing a suit. Nah, life is temporary. Drip is forever. The scene switches to Centipede and his underlings, who tell them that their current hideout is incapable of lasting long. They need another base for survival to deal with the current apocalypse. Centipede points to the convenience store and thinks that they'll kill the zombies and rob the store, ensuring their personal survival. Above all, he also entertains his men with the thought of torturing the girl. Centipede orders his men to execute their mission as they make their advance. Meanwhile, Ye Bei steps out after dressing up in his suit, calling the girl a stupid brat, before asking her about her family members. Clattering her words, the girl tells him that her father went outside to stock more resources and hasn't returned. Slamming his hand on the counter, Ye Bei lashes at her for allowing a man to enter inside while she is defenseless. The girl tries to reason that she helped him while he was injured. Ye Bei reacts harshly to her reasoning, reminding her that monsters that devour flesh are literally waiting outside, while she allows someone a chance to be helped. He calls her pathetic and believes that she is nothing more than a burden to him. Ye Bei wonders if he should kill the girl on his own, but refuses to do that, as being alone sounds boring to him. Pointing to her, he declares that his orders are now absolute and that she is to follow them without question. Otherwise, he won't hesitate to kill her. The zombies lash at Centipede's group, who underestimated their strength. He and his men are shocked to see one of their own get eaten in such a brutal way. They can't fathom how these zombies suddenly became so powerful and think that they might be different from Ye Bei's victims. Centipede doesn't display consideration for his men and orders them to defeat the zombies or else they will meet their demise. One from his group tries to scatter away in fear, only to get his hair pulled and shoved right ahead of the zombies. The zombies welcome their feast, while the man is left to question how he could be treated in such a way by their leader. Centipede and his team are overwhelmed by the zombies, finding it impossible to kill them all, even with their numbers. He orders his men to retreat, knowing that they have no chance against them. They make their prompt escape, with the rest of the zombie horde chasing after their next meal. Inside the convenience store, the girl brings Ye Bei his cup noodles, while he is inspecting the energy stone that he retrieved from one of the zombies. She also brings him the hot water he requested. Ye Bei tells her to get lost and not disturb him anymore. She doesn't mind listening to him and slams the door shut. Ye Bei opens the bucket and attacks the meal, as if he has never eaten something more delicious before. Munching on the noodles, he is reminded of the ecstatic taste that he had long forgotten in the horrors of his real world. Ye Bei recalls that noodles became a basic product for survival, more precious than anything else. Hearing the horde strutting about outside, Ye Bei wonders the reason behind the commotion. The glass window shatters, thanks to a stone, catching Ye Bei's attention. Centipede reaches inside, trying his best to make his way to the top and away from the infinite zombies. He is alarmed to see the student from before and orders him to help him. Otherwise, he will kill Ye Bei. However, Ye Bei shows annoyance and grabs his thermos bottle, approaching the man while he is confused. Ye Bei decides to waste the hot water by spraying it on top of the man's hand, rendering him unspeakable amounts of pain. Bearing a malicious smile, Ye Bei tells him that he is going to be the one who is going to kill him first. However, his arm is suddenly pulled away by the same girl, who begs him to stop hurting the man, begging Ye Bei not to harm him anymore. Centipede is shocked by her kindness, and so is the man himself, who turns to her and reminds her to get lost, because she doesn't know what people are actually like. The girl resorts to reasoning that her father gave her advice on not harming others. They're reduced to a standpoint while Ye Bei tells her that she'll get killed if she allows him to enter inside. Centipede puts on a different face and claims that he was just running away from the zombies and climbing up for food. He tells them that he can't leave now because the horde surrounds them and begs them to stay inside until the zombies disperse from the area. Internalizing his thoughts, Ye Bei regrets not having kicked him sooner and thinks that it would be difficult for him to kill the man, with the girl next to him. Ye Bei spots a cutter blade on the desk. The man steps inside, snickering at them and calling them fools for letting him inside, as it is his territory now. His changed demeanor comes as a shock to the girl, who is unaware of his real intentions. With the zombies reaching outside, two random survivors are the only ones safeguarding the door as their defense. They think that it's because of Centipede that they're facing this fate, as the zombies are fixated on devouring them whole. They also don't know where he went, and believe that it's better to think of him as dead. The zombies banging outside are hungry, rearing their teeth and constantly hammering the door. The survivors are slowly getting overwhelmed and realize that the door won't be able to last long. He tells the women to quit crying and requests their aid. The girls do their best to push back against their overwhelming force. The bald man is actually thinking of saving himself and has personal interests at heart. Back at the convenience store, Centipede stares down the two and sets his eyes on the naive girl who decided to believe a stranger's words. He offers her to become his servant in exchange for sparing her life. However, when he looks at Ye Bei, only frustration courses through his veins as he is set on killing him. He wants to properly tend to Ye Bei by torturing him and eventually ending his life. Centipede thinks that he has won and tries to intimidate Ye Bei, who is standing firm without a display of fear. With a cutter in his hand, Ye Bei is prepared for anything. The girl talks back, telling Centipede that they have enough food and water for everyone. She tries her best to persuade the man, surprising both Ye Bei and Centipede. The girl is so carefree that she's already planning a meal together. However, her attitude only comes across as a taunt to Centipede, who lunges forth to grab her. What he didn't expect is for Ye Bei to launch his cutter, swinging it with such speed and precision that it chopped off 4 of the man's fingers, wailing in pain. Centipede is still able to overpower both Ye Bei and the girl. He trembles at the shock of pain coursing through his body. Centipede is entirely pissed and claims that Ye Bei's got himself a ticket to hell. Ye Bei himself is in trouble after suffering such a powerful kick from the muscular man. Centipede positions his foot on his ankle and presses his entire weight on Ye Bei, causing him even more pain. Centipede questions Ye Bei how he was able to kill the zombies with such ease, while someone like Centipede can't kill them even though he's experienced in murdering. Entertaining his question, Ye Bei mocks him, which only angers Centipede as he slams his foot against his body. The girl bears witness to Ye Bei's pain. It is then revealed that Ye Bei actually let himself get hurt on purpose so that this can serve as a lesson for the girl. He tries a different approach and resorts to revealing his secret to Centipede, who grabs his collar and is keenly interested in his answers. The answer comes in the form of Ye Bei spitting blood in his damn face as if to say he doesn't really care. Centipede is absurdly annoyed and pummels him against the wall before sliding a deadly kick on his chest. Centipede thinks that he should respect Ye Bei's intentions of having fun and proceeds to beat the living daylights out of him. Kicking his face, he hopes to kill the man before him. In an intriguing twist of fate, the girl drives the cutter inside Centipede's neck. Damn, that attack must have felt like minus 50 HP. Centipede is utterly shocked that a girl like her is capable of ganging up on him from behind. He slams her away and pulls the cutter out of his body before angrily declaring that he's going to kill the both of them. While he is busy dealing with her, Ye Bei attacks from his blind spot and deals a lethal blow on his neck, knocking him out on the ground. In the end, Ye Bei is left with an injurious and exhausted state, barely clinging on to his life. The girl realizes that the man before her is not just knocked out. Instead, she has just seen his death. With Centipede's blood pouring out, the girl can't fathom how she has actually taken part in someone else's murder. Ye Bei reaches out to her with comforting words, telling the girl that she only did what was necessary to deal with a malicious person. Unconvinced of her actions, the girl states that she wanted to save him, and yet he resorted to such violence. She remembers hearing that the world is bursting with good people compared to the bad. Girl is actually dense, my goodness. Ye Bei is fed up with her whining and reminds her that the musclehead hasn't died for her to worry about yet. The girl is surprised at first and then proceeds to beg him to save Centipede's life. Ye Bei is annoyed and tosses her before slamming the door shut, shouting how stupid she is. He locks the door and finds himself annoyed to the brim for having to deal with someone like that. He returns to Centipede's unconscious body, realizing that this heap of trash has just dirtied his room. He manages to somehow drag him and places his body over the window before kicking him down. Centipede's body falls to his doom, where the zombies are awaiting their meal. The second his body hits the ground, the zombies' faces turn, realizing that they've just secured someone with meat on them. They swarm the unconscious man before Centipede finally reopens his eyes. He dies a harsh death with his skin pulled away from all ends by the flesh-eating monsters. Double use in the comments. This guy was a real pain to deal with. Staring down at his demise, Ye Bei claims that he would have added to his misery by cutting off the man's limbs before throwing him down. His comment shows his apathy towards such a disgusting human. He looks over to his left, spotting one of Centipede's men, who is barely clinging onto a pole as the zombies reach for him. Ye Bei calls for him from behind, questioning if people are still alive inside the building. The man hesitates to reveal the cruel fate that no one else has survived apart from him. He explains that they were blocking the door until one of them turned face, allowing the zombies to charge inside and ending each of their lives. He begs for the man to help him by allowing him to stay inside the convenience store. Ye Bei instantly declines, stating that he is well advised to quickly run away if he likes his own life. It is then that the man looks over to Centipede's dead body, realizing that he's met his end. In an effort to escape, he leaps to the nearest balcony and secures the landing by an inch. Ye Bei thinks that it's sad that trash, like Centipede's men, weren't killed in the process, and doesn't want to deal with them in the future. Unlocking the door, Ye Bei finds the girl sitting quietly to herself. He emphasizes that he told her to take a shower. The girl stays silent and spots that he has dragged a body out of the window. Ye Bei makes her job easier by telling her that Centipede's remains are now on the first floor. At first, she thinks that the man escaped, but Ye Bei educates her that it would have been impossible for him to escape into thin air. The girl would wince at the thought, questioning Ye Bei's decision to kill him, even if Centipede was the bad guy. Slamming the wall, Ye Bei lashes at her for being an idiot and reminds her of the story of the farmer and the snake. He explicitly tells her that people like Centipede are literally out to kill others. He puts it in brute words that they need to kill in order to survive, as this is the world that has now embraced the apocalypse. The word apocalypse rests in her mind, while Ye Bei resigns, having to waste words on the girl. He thinks that it's a pain for him to take another shower, despite just having taken one, and finds his bones hurting from the inside. Because of his pain, the girl tries to tend to him and carelessly slips. Ye Bei notices her falling from behind and tries to catch her in a difficult spot, preventing her fall. Ye Bei realizes that she has been knocked unconscious and rushes to her aid. Ye Bei lays her on the bed and wonders if the injury is because of the fight. Even though he doesn't spot any bruises on her body, he inspects her body and realizes that she has fallen sick with a fever. Ye Bei rummages to find medicine nearby. He realizes that the girl has been weak from the beginning, meaning she's already been sick. He finds the first aid kit at last, only to realize that it's filled with her diaries. Ye Bei inspects the diary and discovers that it's actually a donation list. He reads the diary and realizes that she has always been sick and wants to be a good person, because others help her with her treatment. He finds her illness records and finds that she suffers from a case of leukemia. He inspects her body and thinks that it must have been the reason she naively wants to save people, even though Ye Bei is aware that her gentleness and warmth are incapable of reaching through the hearts of other people. Ye Bei reaches for his pocket and pulls out the energy stones. However, he contemplates if their use would be effective in treating the girl's illness at any point. The following day, the sun peers through the sky, laying its warm rays on the faces of the monsters. Ye Bei also wakes up from his sleep before looking over to his left to discover the girl. He asks if she feels any better from her condition. The girl doesn't respond, so he tasks her with making a cup of noodles and sausage for breakfast. Before she leaves, Ye Bei informs her to pack some inventory for them because they're going to look for her father. His words come as a surprise to the girl. She confirms if what he is saying is actually the real deal. Ye Bei tells her that it is, reminding her that her father only went out to look for resources. He is aware that the place isn't safe for her, which is why he wants to let her be under her father's care. The girl argues that her father told her to stay inside the store and wait for his return instead of going somewhere else. Ye Bei proceeds to question how long it has been since her father's departure. The girl claims that it's been 3 days and also shares that it usually takes him half a day to restock. Ye Bei counters by telling her that he's definitely not coming back if he has been gone for this long, a fact that greatly makes her uncomfortable. The girl reasons that nothing bad happened to her father because he said he would return quickly. Of course, her childish reasoning doesn't show a semblance of maturity, as Ye Bei has to remind her that her father has been out of the loop for 3 whole days without contact. He puts forth the possibility of him being infected by zombies or being trapped elsewhere to be rescued. Ye Bei shares that it would be a good idea to save him. The girl is still clinging to the words of her father and thinks that she shouldn't leave. Annoyed, Ye Bei calls her an idiot and states that her father is facing some troubles that are preventing him from coming back. He lashes at her for trying to save a stupid gangster, but hesitates when it comes to her. Truly upset, Ye Bei shouts that he could always kill her, but he wants to repay her for saving his life. He orders her to pack her things immediately as she runs away, nearly falling down the stairs while giving Ye Bei a headache. In the next scene, a group of zombies is strutting about in the open until a vehicle approaches them. This vehicle charges full speed and bulldozes through the zombies, sending them flying in every direction. Back at the convenience store, Ye Bei stuffs his bag with snacks in order to prepare himself for the mission. He looks over to the girl, hiding from behind the aisle, questioning if she has prepared herself. The girl shows herself wearing a cute uniform, paired with a bag. Her outfit strikes strange to Ye Bei, who can't believe that she's wearing clothes for an outing. He asks her about the cup noodles for his breakfast and proceeds to enjoy his meal with contentment while she is sitting next to him. Ye Bei reflects on his action plan to take down the zombies, as he intends to steal a working car for them to use as a mode of transport. After securing the car, he will call the girl to hop over, praying to every god that she doesn't mess up the operation. Seeing that she is eating chili strips, he asks for one and shares the snack. While they're having this conversation, the same vehicle from before is making its way. In the next scene, the entire aisle collapses because of a massive impact. Ye Bei loses his mind, thinking that it might be an earthquake. Bro was actually done with his life, haha. However, it's actually a car that has crashed its way inside. Stepping out of the vehicle is a man who doesn't even look like he's from the military. The man with the Discord mod physique thinks that he has found himself his new base. He plays around with the zombie's dead body and thinks he has secured the best location for supplies. His face lightens at the sight of the snacks as he rushes to collect them in his bag. The bald head shares that the rest of the city's supermarkets have exhausted their supplies, which is why he came to a deserted town to collect resources. Placing his cutter next to the man's throat, Ye Bei orders him not to move an inch. He emphasizes that he's already squashed the previous insect and put it on display outside as decoration. However, the man is able to knock him away off balance and make his escape outside. He rushes inside the vehicle, but Ye Bei is quick to follow along. Ye Bei is about to end the average Redditor's life, who begs for surrender. The girl's voice reaches Ye Bei's ears as she doesn't want him to kill someone. She's witnessing the event unfold through the window and shouts that her ruined store won't be receiving the cost of damages if he easily dies. Her words are actually in congruence with Ye Bei, who agrees with her. He tells the guy that they're going to be using his car and him as a driver for the damages. Ye Bei tells Yuer to get inside. She's actually surprised by his use of her name for the first time. The guy begs to be spared, claiming that he only destroyed the door because of hunger, not knowing that they were inside. Yuer tries to carry the heavy luggage with all of her strength, finding it difficult to do so. She's alarmed by the zombies, who are gathering around. She finally manages to get inside, while Ye Bei slams the door shut. The man advises them to fasten their seatbelts and accelerates the car with incredible speed, tossing the bodies of the dead over the vehicle. Letting out a laugh of satisfaction, the bald head dangerously navigates the vehicle. His reckless driving annoys Ye Bei, who can't deal with his bullcrap, and tells him to drive seriously. The man reasons that it would be easier to drive if they killed the surrounding zombies first, and that he doesn't even know about the directions. Ye Bei turns to ask Yuer about her father's location. The girl replies that her father stocks resources from the supermarket, which is also the same place where he made his last contact with her. The man argues that the supermarket is a terrible location that is swarming with zombies. Ye Bei doesn't entertain his opinion and tells him to drive as he is told. On the way there, he casually states that he can put on music for them. Ye Bei shuts him down, but he goes on to annoy him with the idea of singing instead. Their opposing personalities come as amusing to Yuer, one being the angriest man on the planet and the other being an unserious meat shield. A zombie is waiting on the road, only to get absolutely destroyed by their vehicle. The bald head proceeds to sing before ending another zombie's life. He enjoys every moment of killing them, adding to Ye Bei's annoyance, who is trying to sleep. The man states that it's too boring without any music and claims that his trusty vehicle will be able to take care of any zombie. Hounding at him, Ye Bei waves his cutter and tells him to shut up for good. With her car coming to a stop, Ye Bei questions the reason why. Suddenly, the man begins to whine, telling them that his car has run out of fuel. Ye Bei is in the mood to kill him for not having informed them sooner. The man replies that he actually forgot. Ye Bei grabs him and points his cutter, ordering him to stop eating and become bait for them to lure the zombies. Meanwhile, Yuer is faced with real horror as a zombie is waiting right outside to eat her. In fact, many zombies have decided to gather around the vehicle. Ye Bei thinks that even if the car is incapable of being destroyed, they are the ones who will be trapped inside. His eye turns to a sheathed blade in the back. Ye Bei makes his chaotic exit by kicking away a zombie. When one of them tries to approach him, Ye Bei unsheathes his brand new weapon, severing the zombie's skull with a clean swing. Ye Bei is impressed with the sword and turns to his next target, realizing that his current weapon is more than enough to finish them off. He drives his blade inside the zombie's head before kicking it away. With more zombies approaching him, Ye Bei slices apart every single one, impressing the driver with his skills. Even Yuer is astonished by his abilities. Ye Bei, being himself, scolds the fatty and tells him to come out if he wants what is best for himself. Noticing the man's refusal, Ye Bei grabs him to state that he's never going to survive inside. He runs him the possibility of searching the other vehicles for fuel. The plan is for him to kill the zombies for them and clear a path before stepping on the acceleration to demolish the remaining group. Ye Bei has reason to believe that this bald head knows his way around vehicles and tells Yuer to stay put inside. Even though their driver doesn't show much courage, Ye Bei proceeds to swing his blade with such ferocity that no zombie stands in his path. Suddenly, the man reveals that he's actually got fuel tanks at the back, reflecting that he wants to use Ye Bei for his own safety. Slicing another zombie's head, Ye Bei displays killing intent to confirm his question. The fatty tries to calm him down, despite intentionally hiding the information from them before. He tells him that he can add the fuel at once. Strangely, Ye Bei declines and orders him to refuel later. He shares that he needs help collecting the energy stones. Ye Bei points to the dead bodies of the zombies and states that the pearls are hidden inside each zombie's brain, and he wants help with that. Ye Bei even demonstrates his point by ripping away the zombie's flesh until the orb is visible. He thinks that the demonstration is enough, but his new ally is disgusted at the thought of doing such a thing. Ye Bei points his blade, telling him that becoming mincemeat isn't well advised for someone on his side. Ye Bei states that he's going to be dropping each zombie for him to collect without stopping. Ye Bei proceeds to do exactly as he said and attacks the zombies, leaving the man disgusted. He thinks that it's too frustrating seeing zombies from afar, let alone digging their brains for a damn orb. He whips out a small shovel and claims that he's scared of pain and wants to be protected. Ye Bei tells his meat shield to stop his whining and focus on digging instead. The man is scared, thinking that the zombie might wake up. He drives his shovel inside the zombie's head, realizing that the head of a zombie is frail. After digging through, he spots the green pearl and is shocked to witness such a unique pearl. He turns to ask Ye Bei if the pearl is valuable, only to receive a scolding. The man thinks to himself that these pearls might be humanity's bane and the reason for them to become zombies. Ye Bei, on the other hand, severs more heads with clean strikes, laying down a pile for the man to dig. Ye Bei thinks that his massacre is enough, and that his current body isn't enough and requires training. He asks the man about the number he's dug up. The fatty showcases quite the number of pearls that he has collected, finding amusement in the job. Ye Bei instructs him to wash the pearls and store them. He then asks him to refuel so that they can head to their next destination. Ye Bei checks up on Yor, who has fainted once again. Ye Bei shows a rare face of concern and tries to check on her health. He thinks that it's the worst for the girl to be unconscious, especially when she's feeling even worse than last time. He decides to search through their bags for medicine and water. Ye Bei helps her drink water, while the bald head worriedly inquires if she is suffering from a heart stroke. Ye Bei shuts him down and tells him to wrap up the vehicle. Jumping on the wheel, the man thinks that it must have been due to the hot weather. Ye Bei points his blade at him, shouting at the man that it's his fault because he intentionally hid the fuel from them. Ye Bei is so annoyed that he intends to kill him if something happens to Yor. The man apologizes and states that he won't cause trouble beyond this point. Yor is seen regaining her consciousness, witnessing Ye Bei's state. Their vehicle resumes motion. The driver decides to ask Ye Bei's name in light of his impressive control of the sword. Ye Bei demands his name first, receiving it to be Zhao Hong, who is actually the owner of a repair shop. He was forced to flee the city because of the infection, and the car is actually his friend's that was left at his repair shop. Ye Bei proceeds to introduce his name, and before he can say another word, Zhao Hong pulls on the brakes and becomes responsible for annoying Ye Bei once again. A terrified Zhao Hong mutters that the wrath of flames blocks their road to the supermarket. With the fiery roadblock in front of them, Yor wails in pain and manages to relieve Ye Bei by regaining consciousness. She looks through the window to find their obstacle. Ye Bei tells her that they will not be able to rush to her father's side because of that. The girl winces at the thought of her father, while Zhao Hong states that they can reroute in another direction, even though it will take a longer time. Ye Bei thinks that they should reroute but require equipment and weapons first. He questions if the fatty is aware of any electric or weapon stores around the area. Zhao Hong knows of a spot and decides to drive to their destination. Zhao Hong claims that his friend is an experienced blacksmith, a word that alerts Ye Bei. Zhao Hong continues that the zombie virus made connecting with his friends impossible, and he thinks that even with his demise, they can readily use the items left behind. He also tells Ye Bei that the same person actually crafted the sword in his hand. Ye Bei reflects that he can craft a good weapon. Zhao Hong begins to share his story of how they met as friends, but Yor advises him to stay quiet as Ye Bei has assumed sleep. After reaching their destination, Zhao Hong welcomes them to the shop and claims that it hasn't changed in years. However, Ye Bei is unimpressed and finds it more of a garbage dump instead. He points his sword at Zhao Hong and states that he had better be impressed by the quality of the stuff inside. Before they can enter, Ye Bei thinks they should wipe the zombies in front of them. He asks if Zhao Hong's friend is one of the zombies and instructs him to dig their brains out for the pearls after the kills. This time, Yor also wants to help them. Ye Bei tells her that she should prioritize her safety instead of becoming a burden because he won't be able to save her. Yor tells him that she will be cautious while Zhao Hong accepts the help offered and tells her to collect the pearls after he is done digging them. Ye Bei is fine with their plans and claims that he's going to chop them if they get infected. Ye Bei moves on to whack the zombies while Xiao Hong and Yuer share a conversation. Yao Yuer is revealed to be a 14-year-old. Ye Bei cleans the zombies while they're busy collecting. Witnessing this event unfold is a man who is annoyed by them. In fact, when one of his underlings comes to report Luo about something important, he gets shot in the head for it. An annoyed Luo reminds his dead body to knock before entering. Witnessing his cold murder is actually the final survivor of Centipede's group, who shared a conversation with Ye Bei. Luo questions the newcomer, while he claims that he actually knows the people who are busy killing the zombies outside. He reports that the man single-handedly killed dozens of zombies with his absurd strength. Luo takes note of the information and requests his maid to bring him a bag of noodles. Luo tosses him the food and tells him to share the details later. The man is grateful for having shared this meal. Luo orders him to throw the remains of his dead underling outside and inform the rest of his men to help out Ye Bei and his group, promising to reward them. Returning to Ye Bei and his team, Yuer reports that they collected 19 beads in total. Ye Bei instructs Zhao to inspect the house from outside while he slams his way inside. He discovers a room, spotting an anvil and a stove. Ye Bei notes that the stove is hot, meaning that the owner probably left or was attacked by zombies recently. Zhao reports that the house isn't damaged, but he has no clue where his friend disappeared. Ye Bei instructs him to bring the collected beads and then find an old engine, some tubes, and iron plates. He also wants Zhao to sharpen the blade in the meantime. Zhao is surprised because he assumed they were here to borrow pre-made weapons. Ye Bei tells him that the normal weapons will be made useless after a single week, which is why he needs to craft a stronger one. Zhao questions if he somehow knows how to craft, to which Ye Bei annoyedly instructs him to bring his beads. Xiao Hong finds Ye Bei hot-tempered, which is quite an accurate assessment. Yuer, on the other hand, has no idea what she should be doing. Meanwhile, Ye Bei makes preparations to utilize the first mechanic skill known as craft. Ye Bei is quick to hammer down on the pipe, welding it into his new weapon. Watching him work while being amazed by Zhao, who is shocked that Ye Bei is actually capable of crafting. Ye Bei instructs him to put the beads inside his tool, and Zhao follows up with his request. After that, Ye Bei shoves them inside the hot stove, boiling them at a high temperature that melts the essence of the pearls into a green liquid. Xiao Hong is shocked, witnessing the magical effects while Ye Bei remains unfazed. He slits his hand and pours a stream of blood inside the mixture. When his blood lands inside, Ye Bei takes the liquid and begins pouring it down on the hot iron. Then, Ye Bei hammers the rod, creating its shape into a sharp blade. My guy is about to pull up a Thor's hammer, or some crap. On the other hand, Luo's goons are there to fulfill their duty. The surviving member of Centipede's squad thinks that they got absolutely no chance against the monstrous student. However, Luo's other men are in it for the rewards that they were promised for completing the mission. The reason that it's easier to attack Ye Bei's group is that the area is clear of zombies. The group decides to wait until night to move inside when their guards are lowered. Time passes, while Ye Bei is busy making his craft. Xiao Hong is left with a dozen questions about the mysterious abilities of the person before him. Ye Bei sharpens the blade, while Xiao Hong spots the sword's interesting electrical pattern. Ye Bei claims that he's done with his material preparations, allowing him to tap into the true power of a mechanic. While he was busy, Yuer cooked delicious food for them with all her efforts. She used the stove and made the meal for Ye Bei after he finished work. Suddenly, the girl is dragged from behind with a cloth over her mouth. Luo's men have made their move. Ye Bei clasped the blade against the handle, crafting the ultimate weapon of destruction. Xiao Hong thinks that something of this caliber is only seen in movies. Ye Bei advances to the third stage, activation, and charges the blade with electricity. The sword illuminates with green electricity, giving birth to a deadly weapon. Oh, hell nah. These zombies are cooked for life. Ye Bei declares that he has completed casting his blade, leaving Xiao Hong's mouth gaping wide open. Suddenly, they hear Yuer's voice coming from the other side and rush to her aid. When the two arrive outside, they see Luo's men making their escape. The moment Ye Bei spots Yuer's unconscious state, his blood boils with anger. Luo's men try to persuade him to use Yuer as a hostage. However, Ye Bei is far too furious to care and swings his blade, unleashing an energy wave that incinerates the man in seconds. With the rest of Luo's men completely terrified, they run for their lives. Ye Bei sends another energy wave in their direction, which nearly severs the head of another goon. They still don't want to give up Yuer, who is their only leverage in this situation. Centipede's former underling tells him to leave Yuer, but its accomplice thinks that they will surely die if that happens, or face their end with Luo's gun. Ye Bei stops them dead in their tracks, approaching them with ferocity. However, Zhao Hong calls for his attention, telling him that more zombies are charging from behind. In fact, this group of zombies boasts an incredible speed, unlike any other. With the approaching horde of zombies, Ye Bei is annoyed that he has to tend to them. He uses his sword to slice them, ripping their bodies with each consecutive attack. Zhao Hong is unable to comprehend the spectacle taking place before his eyes, thinking that it's something that exceeds his knowledge. Damn, his only 2 brain cells can't even function. He turns to the kidnappers, who are making their escape. Ye Bei instructs the lousy meathead to chase after them with his vehicle. Zhao follows his advice and boards the vehicle, hoping for Ye Bei to survive for a while. He drives ahead at full speed to retrieve Yuer. The goons realize that a raging car is chasing them, but they're fortunate enough to get inside their base. Zhao Hong is forced to come to a stop, believing the base to be their hideout. Zhao Hong wonders what he should do, while the rest of Luo's men think that they can easily take care of the fatty. They step out of the bus and think that it is a good idea for Zhao to surrender his armored vehicle. However, Zhao boasts confidence for the first time, with his blade deciding to take it on. The men charge ahead to end his life as he prepares his sword. Before he is able to do anything, Ye Bei's energy cuts apart and incinerates the men, and also carves an opening through the bus. Zhao Hong is shocked that Ye Bei made it back so fast. The man tells him to follow him because they're supposed to save her. Preparing his blade, Ye Bei destroys the bus with a destructive strike. He walks towards the base, forcing Luo's men to come out of hiding. Ye Bei predicts their attacks and easily blocks them, before destroying the hidden culprit. More of Luo's goons try to fend him off, but Ye Bei's weapon overpowers them beyond their strength. A bullet is shot right next to Ye Bei's head, revealing the shooter to be Luo himself. He claims to be impressed by Ye Bei's skills, and admits to being astonished by his abilities. Luo tells him that he's trying to treat talented people with sincerity and hopes to satisfy Ye Bei's demands. Ye Bei tries to prepare his strike, but Luo is quick to remind him that Yuer is under their control at the moment. Luo tells him that he's being courteous with his demands and should be entertained accordingly. He wonders if Ye Bei is in the mood to test whether his sword is faster than his gun. Ye Bei finds himself persuaded, while Zhao Hong asks for his instructions. Ye Bei finally speaks, ordering him to gather his entire group for him. Luo was surprised by his demand at first and decides to bless him with a red carpet welcome. Zhao Hong thinks that it's a crazy idea to go inside against these many men. Ye Bei tells him to get lost, an idea that Zhao actually likes as he returns to his vehicle. Meanwhile, Ye Bei is welcomed by proper waiters, who assist him on the way. Arriving inside, Ye Bei meets Luo and his men, all of whom are on guard. Luo welcomes him, wondering if he is impressed by the number of his people. He introduces himself as their leader and asks Ye Bei's name and intentions. After introducing himself, Ye Bei claims that he remembers Luo Xiang quite well and inquires if he knows how their zombie apocalypse even came to be. Amused to find that Ye Bei is aware of him, Luo wonders why he thinks that he is aware of information regarding the outbreak. Ye Bei tells him that Luo actually gathered stock before the spread of the virus and claims that he is interested in establishing the Nether Dragon Gang. Shocked that he is aware of this information, Luo becomes more interested in Ye Bei. Showing off his energy stone, Ye Bei claims that Luo's real interest is in gathering the special orbs. Luo was even more intrigued and asks him to spill all of the information. Ye Bei claims that the spread of the virus began with numerous reports. One leading cause was that it originated from overseas research and was spread across the world, thanks to birds and insects alike. The second cause was speculated to be nuclear weapons, with the third and final speculated cause being that of an outrageous alien invasion. There were also rumors of a zombie virus meteor impacting Earth and spreading the virus into the atmosphere. He thinks that Luo has at least heard one of these reports, which is why he brought his gang into the countryside. Luo confirms that this is the case and states that he knows about the secret of the virus, revealing a few stones of his own. Luo claims that he has always been interested in the pearls inside their heads. He knows that Ye Bei's sword is powered by the pearls and wonders how they work in detail. Ye Bei happily accepts the request, but tells him that he needs preparations for that to work. Luo tells him to seize his sword first for an inspection. Ye Bei, at first, is against the idea, but has no choice but to hand over his weapon when Luo points to Yu-Er's current state. Even though a muscular man is carrying his weapon, it overpowers him with a heavy weight. The man tells Luo that the weapon is beyond heavy, which Luo also confirms by himself. Luo allows Ye Bei to proceed with his performance. Ye Bei claims that the human apocalypse is the result of one getting infected by the virus, with their brains forming a black pearl. The pearl is called an energy black metal, accumulating power as time passes after the infection of a zombie. Ye Bei inserts one of the stones inside the board and claims that these stones have excellent adaptability and are also capable of crafting strong weapons. Luo fixates on his words and wonders if one could swallow the pearl, becoming something even more powerful. Ye Bei tells him that a lot have tried to do the same, with most of them becoming zombies. Luo is curious about what happened to the rest who survived. Ye Bei implores everyone to watch his next step, as is quite important. He chants the activation and renders an electromagnetic wave, frying the nearby circuitry and taking out all the lights. While Luo's men are confused, Ye Bei grabs his sword and tries to slash him. Luo, always able to dodge the first attack, and fires back with his gun. The bullets are incapable of hitting Ye Bei, who renders a lethal strike right across Luo's body and his life. Ye Bei reflects that he has now marked the end of Luo Xiang, along with the Nether Dragon gang. He then internalizes the actual nemesis that Luo became in his original life, leading a battalion with black metal weapons and dominating many territories. He committed all kinds of savagery in his reign, which is why Ye Bei is fixated on eradicating this disease. He slashes down the entire group to leave no survivors behind. By the end, Ye Bei thinks that he has become a slaughterer. Even still, he doesn't want the poor girl to bear witness to such suffering. Despite knowing the harsh nature of the apocalypse, he prays for Yu-Er to avoid its cruelty. Suddenly, Ye Bei senses another person from behind and prepares to face him. It's actually Zhao Han, who has returned after the show. Ye Bei takes Luo's gun and declares that he has succeeded in his current objective.